Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's the witches movie Coven. Woohoo! So it's time to grab your goat, grab your drink, and grab some hope because tonight we're reviewing 2025's Superman. As you might have guessed, I am not Patty Negri. Patty is on assignment hunting ghosts and doing witchcraft stuff. Instead, I am Jason Mankey, one of your five co hosts here at the movie Coven. So let's introduce everyone that we've got tonight, starting with the Lizard Queen herself, the one, the only, Courtney Buckley.
That's me, Courtney Buckley, Ghost Bait on Scared and Alone. Last week, Jason, I took your place. Instead of doing Jason Mankey wrote 10 books, Courtney Buckley is mother of 5 reptiles. But guess what? Breaking news, much to no one's surprise, this week I'm mother of 6 reptiles. 6 reptiles. I went to a reptile convention this past weekend, unsupervised, and brought home Tegu. And obviously everybody who's watched knows, yep. Everybody who's not watched knows Rocky already. This is Taka. She is possessed by the devil, and she's very small and has only been on this earth for several minutes, basically, and doesn't know how to responsibly be a lizard. So she is safely in her tank where she is attacking everything within sight instead of here. Right. That's pretty much been my life since I brought her home, which I'm very excited about. So, because I will unleash her on everyone. And she is going to be like 4 to 5 feet long eventually. So watch out if you disagree with my movie opinions, because unlike docile, friendly little Rocky here, she will eat your face. And that's why I love her. So there you go. That's me.
You are truly the mother of dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like beginning tonight's show with a threat. Thanks, Courtney.
Wow.
I will be on my best behavior. Let's go to the man who's the exact opposite of a reptile, warm-hearted, kind, and loving, and capable of growing facial hair, our own Richard-Lael Lillard.
That's funny. That's very clever. I am Richard-Lael. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were Richard, I would be a... Yes, that's that. I am known as the gentleman psychic medium. Used to be a psychic small until I gained some weight. I am here in New Orleans. I'm on. You've seen me on Ghost Adventures. You've seen me, which is movie Coven every week. Except for last week where I was busy. You find me. I'm easy. I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place. And that's about it.
All over the place. That describes our next co-host. She's an author. She's an editor. She's a reporter. And she's also one of the best people I've ever met, Miss Heather Greene.
Oh, that was an introduction. Thank you very much, Jason. I am all those things. I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, the definitive guide to witchcraft and witches in American film and television. I am a journalist covering all things occult and an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, working with many amazing authors. And I also would just like to add that I am also on the board for Mystic South Conference, which is coming up. And I noticed that some of my co-board members are here supporting our show this week. So I want to shout out to my colleagues at Mystic South and co-board members and anyone else. See you in 3 weeks, guys.
I, too, love everyone at Mystic South, and I miss you all so much. And I know that I'll be back again soon. Back again, never exiled, despite my best efforts. One of our new favorites, also on the West Coast, the wonderful Jenny C. Bell.
Thank you. I'm Jenny C. Bell. I am the author of Divergent Witchcraft. I am the owner of One Goat, Not 6 Lizards. And I am the co-host of a show on here on YouTube called Belief, Being, and Beyond, where we talk about the beyond.
Excellent. I forgot to do my traditional intro. I'm Jason Mankey. I am the author of 10 books. They're all about witchcraft, mostly. One sort of about Christmas. And that's enough about me. Richard-Lael, can you tell us about tonight's movie?
Well, certainly I can do that. 2025 Superman. Here's the story. It's about these people, these aliens who send their undocumented immigrant child to the fields in Kansas, where he ends up by growing and maturing in the American way, and then goes to the big city where he defeats capitalists. Bezos, no, what's his name? Anyway, a bald billionaire capitalist, and a country that likes to drop bombs on other countries. Another story for another day. That country is real. So they end up by finding out who Superman is, and he gets sent to a concentration camp in another dimension with voyeuristic intention. While secluded, he sees all. With a bit of a mind flip, they were into a time slip, and nothing will ever be the same. And then I fell asleep. There's a dog, and that's about it.
Things were going so well. They were going so well, and then we went from up in the sky to crash landing hard to Earth. So we will have to figure out how this movie ends. I'm guessing Superman doesn't die as we go along throughout tonight's show. Speaking of tonight's show, are there 5 things that people need to know about this movie, Heather?
Yeah, let's talk about some things about this movie. I kind of went down the history track more so than the tidbits about the movie itself, but that's more fun for me, so you guys have to deal with it. First, Superman did come out in 2025. It is the first film considered in the formal DCU, the DC universe. It's directed by James Gunn, who is Guardians of the Galaxy, came from Guardians of the Galaxy, who wrote and directed it, changing the direction of the DC universe. It opened just pretty much 1 year ago in July, to great fanfare. It opened in the Chinese theater with its budget being just over 225 million. Opening weekend, it made a good portion of that back alone, 125 plus million just in opening weekend alone. And then to date, it's gotten over $354 plus million to date, adjusted for inflation, which is probably very negligible. So that's sort of what we're looking at here, a reboot of the Superman world for us today in 2025. Let's look at the cast real quick. I'm only going to do a few of them and then move on, but we've got David Corenswet. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, honestly. He's a Juilliard grad, played Superman. He's not in a whole lot of other things that you would recognize. This is one of his first films, and it's a pretty prominent one at that to come out with. Lois Lane is played by Rachel Brosnahan. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing these wrong again, but she is known and gotten awards for The Marvelous Miss Maisel. I never watched that show, so you guys can comment whether it was good or not. I did not watch it. She was also in The House of Cards, The Blacklist, and a number of other films and TV shows. Let's move to Supergirl, Millie Alcock. You might know her from The House of Dragons. She was Rhaenyra Targaryen. I watched it too, and it took me a minute to have to say it. Yes, I watched House of Dragons and immediately recognized her face from that. She hasn't been in a whole lot of other things, but that is where you guys might recognize her from. Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, probably one of the more recognizable faces for us here. He was Renfield in the movie Renfield we reviewed. He was in Eggers' Nosferatu as well. We did both of those. So we have already mentioned him. Warm Bodies, he was in that, and a number of other shows and TV shows you have seen his face in. I want to mention the cameo by
John Cena?
Was John Cena have a cameo in this?
Yeah, he's Peacemaker. He's interviewed in a show. James Gunn also wrote and directed 2 seasons of Peacemaker for HBO Max. I'm sorry, Heather. You knew this was going to happen on the show.
Bradley Cooper. That's who I was coming up with his name for a second. He here is Jor-El, so he's the one I was thinking of. But thank you. Add that in. John Cena. Dun, 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 dun. So and also I want to mention Alan Tudyk, who he showed up on the screen here. He also incidentally is a Juilliard grad. I saw a lot of Juilliard in looking at these people. He is in a lot of movies and shows as himself. Knight's Tale, for example, but he's done the voice. He is known also as a voice actor. He is the computer in this one. He's the robot. Rogue One, Ice Age, Big Hero 6, Moana, Wish. The list goes on to the number of voice acting things he's done. So, and we've heard his voice before in some of these that we've reviewed. So I'm going to move on from the actors unless anybody else wants to point out somebody else, because it's a big cast, a lot of people.
Jimmy Olsen. I just got hooked on the Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, so good.
So good.
It's so good. And as an evangelical, former evangelical, like, I couldn't help but think, that's the Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, it's a huge cast, and so I can't name everybody. So yeah, that's good to pick out a few of them. There he is. That's Alan Rick right there. Alan, not Rick. Alan Tudyk. Or Tudyk. Yeah, you got someone?
If you are a sci-fi nerd, you might recognize Eddie Gathegi, who is Mr. Terrific, and I probably just ruined his name, but he was in X-Men First Class, and he's currently on For All Mankind, which is a space show that airs on Apple TV. And he's terrific. Go. He's great and really, really good in this movie. And of course, Nathan Fillion, also friends with Alan Tudyk and part of Serenity and Firefly, and he and Alan Tudyk were once spacemen. Their podcast, We Were Spacemen, is very, very good. I'm going to talk over you all night, and I'm really, really sorry. I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited to talk about this.
I know you're super excited about it, so we'll excuse it for this time.
I have one. Sean Gunn.
Yes.
I love it. From Gilmore Girls.
Oh, okay.
Literally cannot see him in anything without seeing him as Kirk from the Gilmore Girls. And anyone in the comments who's watched it understands why that's difficult sometimes to see him in anything else other than that.
That happens.
He's weird in that, and it's funny.
Well, I'm going to move on from the actors. Again, that has a big cast, so I appreciate everyone chiming in on some of their favorites. I will continue to focus on the ones that are that we've seen before, which is the fun part. But so let's move on to origins, and this is where I get kind of history goofy. So of course, Superman was born in 1938. He was not born as part of DC. He was sold to what was then called the National Alliance Publications, which formed in 1934. Originally, Superman was part of a story. The story was released in 1933 and then eventually became Jerry Siegel's first 1938 comic. Incidentally, DC's, when they changed their name, it's because Detective Comics is what it stands for, DC. So anyway, in let's see, they released 1938. There it is. If you got it then, it was 10 cents. If you sold it now, it's millions of dollars. This was really the birth of the modern superhero as we know it today. It was Superman. There were heroes before, but he was the first. We didn't have Batman until 1939, Wonder Woman in 41, and Marvel didn't have their superheroes yet at this point either. Superman really was the first of its kind.
The Shadow knows.
So that's the origin story of That's the origin story of Superman. That's where he was born. Of course, 1930, coming in the 1930s, Superman was being born in a period of time where fascism was on the rise in Europe. And I won't get into symbolism and all that, but you can probably see how we needed him culturally in that time, especially with the Americana and the Captain America style coloring and everything. This Superman was definitely something that needed to come in a period of time where hope and kindness were on decline. So number 4, we go to Superman going onto the screen. So his first main appearance on the screen in any capacity was in 41. He was part of a Max Fleischer cartoon. Now, Max Fleischer is known as for Betty Boop. If you know Betty Boop, that's Max Fleischer, along with Popeye. So what's interesting, he was in these cartoons was the first time Superman actually flew, which I did not know until I read that. He did not fly in the original comic. He just leaped tall buildings, but he did not actually fly. Max Fleischer, the cartoonist, added that feature. And then from there, we have a series of 1952 shows. We have some other cartoons along the way. Of course, Jason probably remembers all too well the Super Friends in 1970s and 80s Saturday morning cartoons. You watched the Super Friends, and they were there. Am I right?
I lived in Illinois then. They started at 7 a.m. They were the first cartoon on in the morning. I would go downstairs, I would pop some Pop-Tarts, and then I would sit and watch the last 5 minutes of the Farm Report before Super Friends started.
Yeah.
All excited.
It was a huge thing. And for those of you out there that don't know what Saturday night morning cartoons are, it was the only time you could watch cartoons during the week. So you woke up, didn't have to go to school, and you sat in front of that television for hours in that all Saturday morning watching, hoping that your mom would not take you to the store before they were over.
Yes.
So that was Superman introduced to our generation in cartoon form. Of course, the landmark film 1978 with Christopher Reeve, with Margot Kidder, with Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman will always be Lex Luthor to me. That film was phenomenal and really catapulted DC into a period of success during the 80s. You had, 4 Superman films. They were not all successful. You had Superman Returns. Well, that was later. You had Batman movies. You had a whole bunch of DC stuff going out. That kind of ended the 90s. We'll get to that in a second. You also had Superman Returns in 2006. You had Batman and Superman in 2016. You had a Batman 2017, the Justice League. They've been trying to reboot Superman since the disaster in the late 90s, and they haven't been able to do it until this 2025, which has been very successful. So successful, we're getting Superman 2 in 2027. And in this week, I believe, is Supergirl, which is coming off of the Superman movie, if you've watched it with us. So that's sort of a glance at our Superman on screen. And I just want to set something up that's might create some conversation, and we don't have to converse now, but DC or Marvel, that's a big thing. Now I've got been around enough of these geek cultures and stuff to know that that's a big thing, almost like the Star Wars versus Star Trek, right? DC or Marvel. Well, DC had their run in the 90s. Marvel almost tanked, and they really picked up steam when they finally got Spider-Man in the 2000s. It was DC's world back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. They were riding high until they did, what was it, Superman versus Robin or something? And you know what I'm talking about, Jason, since you're a Superman guy. The late 90s. Which one was that? Superman versus
Batman,
Robin, right?
That was Batman and Robin, which ruined the
Batman and Robin, not Superman and Robin.
That's Superman 4 ruined the Superman franchise. Series. That was Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. It was put out by Canon Films, who made like cheap, schlocky films, and it looks cheap and schlocky, and it destroyed everything. Warner Brothers had actually sold the rights to Superman to Canon because they had begun to give up on superheroes as a genre.
And Batman versus Robin in 97 was the nail in the coffin. That was it for DC. And it was right at the time where Marvel figured it out, selling, giving the ability, they were near bankrupt, gave over the Spider-Man and several of their characters to be filmed by other folks to be filmed. And that was Spider-Man was so successful, it was able to carry them through, even with several other Hulk and eventually birthing the MCU. And then from that point, that was Iron Man. That was successful. And then we entered a Marvel universe. And so we entered the Marvel universe, so to speak. DC tried over the years, tried to relaunch Batman, tried to do Superman. We had Wonder Woman. And, there's a big difference between what Marvel was doing and what DC was doing. DC was doing one-off films around their centered around their character. Eventually, Marvel learned that they could build a universe, connecting all their movies to creating an entirely different type of product. And that worked. And I think DC is starting to catch up. Will it last? Can they do it? And that's the question. So that's all I got for you today.
Yeah, like the whole story of Superman over the last 15 years. A lot of starts and stops, beginning with Superman Returns, which was a bad film. Then you had the Snyderverse Man of Steel, which was a grim, gritty take on Superman that I personally didn't hate, but it wasn't what we got with this movie. And I know that Jenny C. Bell saw this movie in a theater because that's what our producer told me behind the scenes. So what drove you to go see this movie in a theater, and what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I have 2 kids, and we are all really deep into the MCU. We've seen all of the Marvel movies in release order and then also in chronological order, and then we watch them all periodically. However, husband's a huge DC fan, and he's been waiting patiently and sometimes not so patiently for like a good relaunch of something DC. And so he was hyped up. Kids were like, we're here because we love Guardians of the Galaxy and we think this is going to be good. And so we all went, and overall everyone's pretty happy. My daughter and I just wanted like a little more romance. Really love the Lois Lane, Clark Kent, Superman love triangle. Like that's one of my favorite Superman things. And my husband's like, but it's been done. I was like, but it can be done again. But other than that, it was like everybody was happy. It was like great for all the different ages. You left feeling like hope, which I can't say you leave feeling that way with like any of the Snyder movies. They're so dismal. I wouldn't show them to my kids. So yeah, that's why we were like, yeah, finally something DC. Hopefully this one sticks and we like it, because we've seen all the Wonder Womans. We saw Aquaman in theater, which I don't recommend. And then yeah, we keep trying.
It's like the little train that could or something, but most of the time DC just seems to be the little train who can't. Courtney, what did you think of Superman 2025?
Well, how long was that movie?
Not long enough.
Well, so however long it was, I started watching it about noon, and I think I finished it about 6 something, because I had to watch the first. This is the magic that happened. You know, we talk about this all the time, where like I think to myself, oh my God, I've been possibly watching this for 3 hours, and I look and I'm like not even halfway through the movie yet. Well, what happened was I kept like my mind went for, I had like mind zoomies, like brain zoomies while it was on, and I started it brain zooming, and I was like, oh my God, I just missed like an hour of this movie, and went to rewind it. It had been 17 minutes. And then the same thing happened for that same 17 minutes about 4 times. So here's the problem. I understand. I watched it, or at least I was in the room while it was on, trying to force my eyeballs to look at it. Okay.
I like your honesty.
Yeah. Listen, I tried, and because I know what it means to you, Jason, and you mean a lot to me. So I tried a lot. I am not a superhero person. I don't love superhero movies. So that I'm not the target audience for this movie. I understand why it means to you what it means to you. I see all the things in it that you see in it. But to me, it just doesn't hit me the same way. Like growing up, I did Saturday morning cartoons too. And I was a big X-Men fan. I was very into the X-Men. Yeah. But even that, like there was no, like Spider-Man was never intriguing to me. Batman was. And the movie, the stupid Batman movie that everybody hates, I loved it. I used to watch it on repeat, and I don't care. And go ahead and judge me for that. But Superman, never a thing. I don't know if it was because like, he was like the superhero that like I just didn't feel any connection to. I don't know, but I didn't. And so watching this was painful. And even though there was a dog in it, it did not help it. And I love you, Jason. And I tried really hard. So
if it makes you feel better, when I saw it 3 times at the theater, and I went with one of my friends as soon as it came out, and then took my wife on Wednesday or on Saturday. And I was super excited. I was so thrilled to show her this movie. She watches all the Marvel movies with me, and she loves the Marvel movies. I was so just thrilled to be sitting next to my wife at the movie theater watching Superman. And then when we got done, she was like, it was okay. I don't think I liked it nearly as much as you. I wish they'd done more with Lois Lane. And that was about it. And now she just makes fun of me when I watch it incessantly on repeat, you know? So don't feel bad. Superhero movies are not for everybody. It's mostly for people like me, Arrested Development.
I will definitely say I don't like superheroes. I like supervillains. I don't like superheroes. I've never liked superheroes. I just feel like that they have Superman, especially because there's no sort of conflict. Everything he's got an app for that. Oh, I can see through walls. I have X-ray vision. I have laser vision. I can fly. I can spin the world backwards. I have super strength. I can do anything except for be around kryptonite, which is rare. So I just kind of feel like it's contrived. Don't care for superheroes. I did watch Saturday morning cartoons, and you would never guess what I watched as a kid in 1991. You would never know what cartoon I watched in 91.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No.
Adam's Family.
I was hoping something.
No, I mean, I started off by watching things like The Twisted World of Felix the Cat, which was a redo of the 1930s Felix the Cat. And then I would do, early in the morning was Rocky and Bullwinkle at 6 a.m. And then I would stay up to watch The Addams Family, and I would watch the Twisted World of Felix the Cat. I'm trying to remember what other ones in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, I definitely love the Smurfs.
Mighty Mouse.
I loved Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse.
I mean, he wasn't a superhero. He was just a super mouse.
But I've never really been into superheroes. And to quote, superheroes come to feast.
Oh no.
Taste flesh not yet deceased. And now I know that down inside I'm bleeding. That's it. It was okay. Jason, I love you. I will say though, I did enjoy looking at the buff man in red tights, red underwear. That was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I could look at that all day.
Wow.
Rob, can you re-show that claymation date? Yeah. Hey, Davey, let's go to church, Davey. Those were the like fake cartoons that ruined your mornings. Those were like always on Sunday because real cartoons weren't on, and they try to disguise them. They were all Christian cartoons, and they were of the devil, and not the good devil that most of us like. The bad devil. The worst things ever made. Heather, you haven't talked about the movie yet.
I had the same reaction when that came up on the screen, Jason. I just have to say that. It ruined. Horror. Yeah, I would quickly turn off PBS or whatever channel it was on. Not watching that. I have watched all the Marvel movies as well. And I forced my entire family to watch them in chronological order, of course, because nerdy have to do. I have to do that. And I was a Super Friends watcher back in the 70s, 80s when I was little Saturday morning, and I even had Wonder Woman's Supergirl underoos, and I was Batgirl for Halloween when I was like 8 years old. I am not but I am not running to the movie theater to watch a superhero movie just to watch a superhero movie. But I'm in, and I root for DC. I remember when Batman came out in what was it, 89, and it was the biggest. Everybody had Batman t-shirts. Everybody had stickers on their car. It was Batman everything. So, I root for DC. They did it once, but it was a different time. And Superman's a hard sell. It really is, because of our cynical time. And I could go on. I could write a dissertation of why he's a hard sell. I thought Captain America would be a hard sell too, but they managed to figure that one out because of the universe and because of what they did with it. So it's possible. I was really excited for this movie, and I liked it, but I don't think I liked it as much as Jason. I think by the end, I I thought there were parts that were just, and maybe I wanted to like it so bad. I really did. It's a great movie as far as movies are concerned. It does all the things it needs to do. It hits right. The production value is great. They timed it right. All the things are good. I'd have to watch it again to tear it apart, even close in that realm. It's much better than any other. I don't think Superman is the right character to do a dark thing. Leave that to Batman. That's Batman's thing, you know? That could be an hysterical movie of the two of them trying to save the world from those different perspectives, but and being besties. But it didn't hit. It almost felt a little too hokey to me. Like there was something missing for me that I wanted, that just wasn't there. So I just kind of mid on it.
I'm
Superman,
sorry,
and I also
it's fine,
love you
fine.
and understand
fine.
why you love this movie so much. So I respect that totally. Unlike some other people's choices of movies, this one I completely understand. Yeah, I'm not looking at you, Jenny. Little Nikki.
I will say there is one version of Superman that I do enjoy. He makes an appearance in one of my all-time favorite movies, which is Lego Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything about that movie is hilarious. And I watched that unironically by myself with no children because it's incredible. And Channing Tatum plays Superman in that one, and he's just so stupid.
That's a family favorite movie. We constantly quote that movie like you do with Shrek. So it'll be like, that man doesn't do ships, as in relationships.
Nope.
And I remember I watched their earlier Superman movie, the 78 movie, many, many times because it was on HBO constantly. And so I saw that movie so many times. My dad probably had it on VHS, and we probably watched it that way too, so many times. And I thought maybe I don't like it because it's ruining that, but no, I don't have an attachment to that movie. Yes, because if I watched it where I remember sitting there as a kid, but I don't have that kind of attachment where this would have ruined it for me. I'm still rooting for them. I want to watch it again, and I really want to see Supergirl and what they do with it, and I want to see what they do with the next Superman. So I'm rooting for DC. Please no. That was unnecessary.
I'm quitting this podcast if I have to look at that again. That's enough.
Okay.
I have reached the limit. Rob, you're on the list now. You're going in the jar.
I think our producers are trolling us at this point.
Sending Taka after you. Get ready.
There's a lot of trolling tonight. Ton of trolling on this show.
Our producers are trolling us, everybody. We apologize.
Have you guys ever seen Jurassic World, the one with the Indoraptor? And they train the Indoraptor with that laser gun and the sound?
Yes.
Yeah, Tegus can be target trained. So, Rob, one eye open. Okay, I'll be working on that. See you in a couple of years.
I will say that what I like about Superman is that he is the original Antifa. And we now know that Antifa headquarters are somewhere in the North Pole near Santa Claus. It has the Fortress of Solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that one. So the Antifa headquarters are in the North Pole. So I like.
There's a lot to that statement too, because if you go back and you look at the history of Superman, he was doing very, very progressive things early on. The radio show from the 1940s, which was on for quite a long time, hugely rated. They had a special arc where Superman fought the Ku Klux Klan. This is 1947, 1948. It meant that they got in trouble in a lot of markets because of how racist the country was at the time. And there is Superman doing that work. All kinds of images of Superman surrounded by all kinds of kids, all shades of colors, because Superman has always been accepting. And I think his alien nature plays into that, but also his creators, Siegel and Schuster, as poor Jewish kids in Cleveland, Ohio, also played a really, really large role in that. But I like that the Antifa headquarters is the Fortress of Solitude. And to me, that kind of goodness is what really makes Superman such a good character. Marvel, cynical. A lot of their comic books when they started in the 60s were cynical. And if you really go back and read early Spider-Man, and I love the art of Steve Ditko, but he was also a giant fan of Ayn Rand. And it comes through in early Spider-Man in a few places where he is mean to people like hippies and things. Superman, not mean to people. And I've always liked that about Superman.
And I think that's one of the reasons he's a harder sell. And is the Marvel has an edge to it. Even some of the better, more feel good Marvel, more MCU universe movies that we've seen, leaving aside any anti-heroes in red suits, we're talking about, even the Hulk in these movies. There's a cynicism and a question, and they're really hitting an emotional current in our society right now that's been happening since 2000 with it. It's subtle. It's still uplifting. Good guys still win, but they struggle against themselves. They struggle against their past. They struggle. So there's this struggle and this slight cynicism and all this woven into the Marvel universe that's making it very current. Superman, I think shaping Superman in that would be wrong because that's not who he is. Like Jason just pointed out, he has to be true to his form, but how do you put somebody who really represents goodness and hope and all these things in a world that is just
human?
It's marinating in hatred and cynicism, disgruntledness. There's all these things. Is there a place for that hope? Is there a place for it? That's Superman. And how do you do that?
I've always kind of looked at the Marvel versus DC thing as Marvel superheroes are people that you can relate to in a lot of ways. And DC Comics heroes like Superman and Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, The Flash especially, are more like Greek gods in a way. Archetypes, eternal, not changing. You know exactly who they are, and they just don't seem to have the struggles that the Marvel characters have. There's just something just big about characters like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman that makes them in a way sort of hard to relate to for some people. And I think that's one of the problems DC has with some of its movies. It's hard to find that way into some of these characters, especially a guy like Superman.
Yeah. What about the Wonder Twins?
Xana Jana, baby. Form of an ice catapult.
Are they like Greek gods? Gemini twins, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, lesser deities born of a mortal, but, a god was there at the beginning too, right? Like a Heracles or a Theseus, right? Son and daughter of Zeus, but from a mortal woman, which is why they haven't had their own movie yet. And probably never will. I think there's a lot of reasons.
I think it's a mix of two things. Like what you just talked about, Jason, and what Richard-Lael talked about earlier, that makes it hard for me to care about this movie. Like I can't get into a movie that I can't find something to care about. And Richard-Lael talking earlier about how he's Superman. He can do literally anything except go near kryptonite. And then it's that lack of like it's this like God presence who now in this movie to me is like trying to have that personal background struggle that like you're Superman. Like okay, you're not a real real people go through that, not this like super like I get you're an alien, whatever, okay, but this you're like this superhuman entity. Like I can't find any sympathy in here for that. Like watching someone grow up struggling and like getting into that nitty-gritty backstory or like whatever and not to say that he doesn't necessarily have one, I don't know, but like it's hard for me to feel things for someone who can do all of that, like has all those powers, is all of that, is this big giant entity of Superman. And okay, I guess you do have struggles, but like I don't need 2 hours to hear about them. Sorry, I don't.
In fairness, one of Superman's weaknesses is magic. He doesn't do well against magic and kryptonite. So there are at least two vulnerabilities that Superman has. Exactly. Thank you, Tom. Superman is defenseless against magic.
There's a
Boom.
lot of things that are defenseless against magic. So
And Courtney's hexes.
right. Well, I wanted a Tegu and I won a raffle. I'm a very powerful witch. I won a raffle for $1,000 worth of equipment. And I said, if I win that raffle, I'm getting a Tegu. And nobody believed me. And then I won the raffle. So I got a Tegu. It's unrelenting. So I'm just, if I can defeat that, I could probably defeat Superman. I'm not impressed. I don't want to watch a movie about you for 2 hours. So I don't know. I'm sorry, Jason.
I think
You do not have to like everything that I like or be passionate about
Yeah,
it.
but you have to like everything that I like. So I feel bad when I don't like it.
we know that's not true. We know that's not true.
Oh, I
Killing-
know that Sword in the Stone is your favorite movie and that you
Oh.
think that The Killing Tree is amazing and that Velocipaster is just a cinematic masterpiece and that you're going to be so excited to watch my birthday choice, which is Twilight. So
so good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have like a concert to go to that night. There's a lot going
Well, you
on.
and Jenny Seabell, you're invited to my birthday show for that.
Jenny, I'm curious.
You will also be there or else.
I may
Yeah,
bring
we're
a
gonna-
doll.
Okay. Maybe I will too. I
And
got
maybe I have a Twilight doll.
I'm excited.
I was hoping to get that reaction.
this might be the best birthday ever.
I don't know. Well, we got a little bit of time, so let's see how it goes. See if you deserve it.
I might dress as Clayton, the Killing Tree,
This and I love that. That's perfect.
at the concert that I'm at that night, so I don't have to rewatch the Twilight movie
I
ever
will
again
call
in my
it.
life.
I'll call it a bomb threat. Test me. Try me.
Oh.
Try me.
Back to Superman.
Jenny, as a mother, do your kids like Superman, or is he really passé?
So they like Batman, and we just started the youngest on Batman Begins, which are my husband's favorite Batman movies, as
Yep.
the Batman expert in the house. And they were like, my 11-year-old, and we were all just kind of amazed at how timeless those movies are. And they're not, I don't know, they're going to always be classic. They don't seem dated. That's another story. They're big Marvel fans. And so we saw this movie, and I think their expectation was it would be like Guardians of the Galaxy with Superman. And so they liked it, but I think they could have liked it more. My daughter was really hoping for the romance triangle I mentioned because we are romance readers. And I was like, my favorite part about Superman is Lois Lane and the tension. And then we get there and they're like already together. I was like, boo. But she said he was really pretty to look at, and that was the selling point for her. And my son really loved the dog, loved Crypto, and we're all actually really excited for Supergirl. And I feel like I have a feeling that movie is going to hit like with our family better. I'm hoping I'm right. We'll be going to see it in theater, but it's like we're hoping like this was kind of laying the foundation for like us loving Supergirl. So,
So I have a question for everyone: soup or man? I'm thinking soup. I really am thinking soup.
what kind of soup?
Ooh, chicken noodle. Always chicken noodle. Warms the soul.
If I'm hungry, it definitely has to be soup. If I need somebody to help me mow my lawn, man or person, because soup just really can't do that. There are just a few things it is incapable of helping me with.
Tabitha just asked who our favorite superheroes are of all time.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Vincent Price.
For sure. I can see that.
Oh, yeah. That
I
tracks,
like-
definitely.
I like Batman. I love Batman.
Especially Lego Batman.
The most obviously,
Obviously.
definitely Lego Batman.
Kevin
This-
Conroy, Batman the Animated Series, and Justice
really
League the Animated Series is the best Batman. That's scientifically proven. Everyone knows that. Will Arnett is a very good Lego Batman, but Kevin Conroy is the Batman. He is the Batman. Rest in peace,
Okay.
Kevin Conroy.
She's got the glasses on. We're
I
done.
know.
You're cooked, as the kids say. Mine's actually
It's-
the Incredible Hulk. That's my favorite because I used to watch the Lou Ferrigno show with my grandpa, and that was my first exposure to like superhero stuff. And so to this day, like I almost always have a Hulk shirt in rotation, and I wear it ironically because I'm 5'2", so it's just like such a great thing to wear.
Heather,
It's funny thinking about that. I was like, okay, well, I've dressed up as a Marvel character at DragonCon, and I've dressed up as a DC character at DragonCon, but the third costume I was going to do, and then things happened and I couldn't go, was going to be my favorite superhero, which is Spider-Man. I don't know why, but I will tell a funny story. As I was in the hospital once when my mom was getting surgery, and I was sitting there, and the nurse came in, this big guy, and he was just treating my mom, and he started making conversation with me, and he asked me what I do, and I mentioned being a journalist and all that, and he looked at me and said, "Oh my God, you guys are going to save us. You are like a superhero. You're Peter Parker." And that was the and I was like, that's so funny because that's my favorite superhero. But and I've since gotten a lot of Spider-Man stuff from my kids after that because it was just a funny moment in my life. But yeah, it's Spider-Man. I always I like the spiders, and I like spiders, and I like the webs, and I want to shoot webs out. And I was going to make a whole Spider-Man costume for myself, and it didn't happen. But
Did
anyway.
you like the Spider-Verse cartoons? Because we love
I
those.
did. Oh, they're so good. They're so brilliant. They're so brilliant on so many levels, the Spider-Verse cartoons, for sure. Did like them.
Since he's a recurring theme, and he's already shown up once tonight, sadly, have you watched Spider-Man Noir yet, Heather?
I am. I've watched. Did I finish the season or not? Yes, I have. And I have mixed feelings about it. I love film noir. I love film noir. I studied film noir in school. I have a timing issue with the way they did it. Some of it I like, but it's got Nick Cage in it. So I think someone said in one of our chats that it sounds like he has marbles in his mouth when he was talking. And I think that's probably most accurate. So I'm mixed on it. That's another show.
Speaking of things we all like, Courtney, do we have any quotes from this movie that you need to share with us tonight?
Sure do. I have a few. The first one I liked was the Superman robot, whatever his name was talking about the dog, and he said,
Gary.
"We feed the canine, but he is unruly, and he realizes we are not flesh and blood, and couldn't, in our heart of hearts, care less whether he lives or dies." I thought that was funny. Maxwell Lord says, "The one thing that liberals and conservatives can finally agree on is that Lex Luthor sucks." His Bradley Cooper dad, his other dad, said, "Parents aren't for telling their children who they're supposed to be. We are here to give you all tools to help you make fools of yourself all on your own." And I thought that summed up parenthood very well. Superman and Lois Lane were talking about being punk rock. He said, and Lois Lane said, "My point is, I question everything and everyone. You trust everyone and think everyone you've ever met is like beautiful." And Superman said, "Well, maybe that's the real punk rock."
Yeah.
And then he said, "The DOJ has a warrant out for my arrest, so I'm going to turn myself in." And Lois said, "Wait, what? Why?" And he said, "Maybe they'll take me to wherever they took the dog. I don't know how else to find him." And she said, "It's a dog." And he said, "Yeah, and he's not even a very good one, but he's out there alone, and he's probably scared." And then lastly, Jason, hear yourself, is what Superman says when Lex Luthor calls him an alien. He says, "That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I am as human as anyone. I love I get scared. I wake up every morning, and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other, and I try to make the best choices that I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human, and that is my greatest strength. And someday, I hope, for the sake of the world, you'll understand that it's yours too. Those are my quotes.
That is the one. That to me sums up this movie so much. When I watch that, all right, it gets me. All right, tonight's Mankey movie moment is not funny because I cannot make fun of one of my 5 favorite films of all time. So it's something else. It's a little different. But, you know, I think about Superman and I think about our world. And I think most of us, when we watch the news today, we feel like the stories that we get are one outrage after another outrage, plus another outrage, plus a distraction with an outrage, so we don't pay attention to the bigger scandal or whatever. And I don't want to get too political, but over the last 15 years, and especially the last 2 years, we've had wars, threats to our democracy, unparalleled corruption and grift. And there also have been very real threats to all sorts of people that we know. There's a growing number of people in this country, in the United States and around the world, who now think LGBTQ plus individuals, especially those who come under the letter T, are second-class citizens or worse. And we now have national and state governments treating those people as somehow less than other people. There are also the daily threats to a lot of our neighbors, especially if their skin is brown and English is their second language. So much to be angry about over the so many 16 years or whatever it's been now. But out of everything that has gone on during this period of time, it's the disappearance of kindness and empathy that saddens me the most. We've always been a very divided electorate in the United States, but people have mostly been nice to one another, at least in front of their faces, especially over the last 50 or so years. Disagreements didn't mean someone was immediately a Democrat or whatever the insult to Truth Social is on any given day. When presidents tweet, "I'm glad he's dead," you know that we've entered a toxic era, one without any guardrails or respect for others. Superman, as we've talked about tonight, truly feels like a character from a different age. He's sometimes called the Big Blue Boy Scout because he's not an anti-hero or an edgelord walking the thin line between good guy and villain. Superman, Clark Kent, is essentially a good person who tries his hardest to get up every day and do good. He respects life and has sympathy for others. Superman shows that you can be powerful and kind at the same time. Having an enemy in Lex Luthor does not mean threatening to wipe out all of LexCorp while damning to death whoever gets caught in the way. Creatures like squirrels who find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time are even worth saving. There's a splash scene early on in the movie where Superman saves the life of a young girl, shielding her from incoming debris with his body. We all know that such a thing can't hurt Superman, but it's the way he saves this girl that's inspiring. When Superman sees what's happening, he doesn't have a choice to make. He knows what he has to do. Save the girl. And that's what makes him Superman. He's selfless. And also this movie has a dog. A lot of heroes are about quips and kills. Superman is about being good. Is Superman 2025 a perfect or even great movie? Clearly not, some of you. But it's a movie with heart. It makes me think that values like kindness and empathy still exists. It's about punching up instead of punching down. Eyes up here. It's not Superman's strength and heat vision that make him a great hero. It's his concern for his fellow humans. Superman represents the best in us because he shows us that having a heart is the greatest superpower of all. That's Superman.
And that's why I understand why you love this movie so much.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, you know, it was all that I hoped it would be. It's time for wands up or wands down. I think we all know where I was going. I've got both wands up tonight.
I'm giving
up.
a lizard neutral.
Is that a halfway, Heather?
Yeah, that's my crooked witch wand. It's very long. Yeah, it's the what you're talking about with Superman. I fully support them, so I hope they continue, and I hope they break through and make that possible in this ugly world. But as a movie, just in itself, I'm halfway.
Yeah,
but I'm rooting for him. I'm really rooting for him for multiple reasons.
I say lizard up for the message and lizard neutral for the movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Same.
Very fair. We've got wands up, sideways from Christy. Georgina, love you, Jason. Well, thank you. Megan, wands up. So many. Mine is wands up. Wand halfway, Mary Jane. That's okay. But it's that message of love and hope, and hopefully it's a message that we see much more often. Today online, I said this movie reminds me of a lot of Ted Lasso. Yes. It's something that I watch when I'm sad or hopeless or whatever it is. And, just makes me feel better about things. Yeah.
Whatever works, whichever movie makes you feel like that, cling to right now for sure and watch it over and over again.
Yeah, a lot of times I just think that we live in Revenge of the Sith. So sometimes I need to get away from that a little bit,
For sure.
I was going to say, I think that's maybe other people's issue with this movie is it is a feel-good superhero movie, and we don't get a lot of those, and we haven't gotten a lot of those in a long time. So that could be, I always think of Spider-Man as, feel-good, but lately with the Marvel, the way they did Spider-Man, they weren't always feel-good. They were, crying tears and, well, no, why Spider-Man? So it's this actually does make you feel good. I do remember leaving the theater, we were all happy. And can't always say that for a movie. So I think that could be part of it.
Yeah. And I think Spider-Man, if you look at the history of him, you're supposed to leave feeling kind of bad for Peter Parker. And they do that well. That's what the character is. So Heather, what's our movie next week?
Inferno from 1980. I have not seen it, so I can make no other comment than that. And we don't know who was the person who recommended it, but
might have been me.
I'm writing that down because I
can't remember. Wait, let me Google it really quickly because it might have been me.
If it wasn't you, it was someone from our extended coven, and if it was you out there in the chat, then your movie is next week, Inferno, 1980.
1980. Let me just look and see. Oh, wait a minute.
While Richard-Lael looks that up, Heather, I know you have something very big coming up.
Yes, Mystic South, 3 weeks from now. The hotel block just closed. However, we will put up another code. If you're still planning on coming, there are hotel rooms not far away. We are 3 days starting on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. Am I getting that right? 17th, 18th, and 19th of July, mid-July, that weekend. It is 600-700 of your closest witchy friends all together in Atlanta at the Crown Plaza Ravinia to have fun, to learn, to do ritual, to come together in spirit. And the woot woot, says Stacy, who is one of my board members. And and another board member just chimed in too. Woot woot. Yes, we are coming up and we hope everyone joins us. If you're in the chat, you can look up mysticsouth.com or mystic-south.com. Check us out online and come join us in a couple weeks.
Anyone else have anything coming up?
Yes, that was me. I chose that movie. I forgot.
Mark it down.
No, just in case.
Yeah, that was me. That was my suggestion. It's going to be fun. It's a good film. I'm really easy to find. I'm the gentleman psychic. I'm easy. I'm everywhere. That's it.
All right. Anybody else?
At another reptile expo, so be prepared for next week. Join us next week to see how many dragons I am the mother to.
Excellent. I am home for 2 months. I have nothing to talk about. I'm sure we could put up a list of where Patty is going, but Patty's not here. Just know that every weekend, Patty is somewhere on the road. She makes me feel tired just watching her schedule. It's amazing. It's amazing. As we are witches, there's one thing left to do before we leave you tonight, And that is Cackle. 1, 2, 3. Ooh.